Thank you, Father. Our keynote speaker for the day, Mr. Ajay Nanavati, took over as the Managing Director, 3M India, in October 2008. He joined 3M India in 1988 as its first Indian employee and went on to spend the next 5 years in building India operations. Sir has worked in several roles at 3M. He spent 5 years in Singapore leading the telecom business, followed by 4 years at Austin, where he was responsible for starting a new telecom service business. He then spent 3 years in the 3M headquarters, St. Paul, Minnesota, where he led the acquisition and integration of a US-based company. Prior to leading India operations, Mr. Nanavati was the MD of 3M Israel. Sir is a seasoned professional with over 3 decades of experience in the corporate world. He has earlier worked with companies like the Tata Group and the Birla Group across functions and geographies. LIBA is honored to have a man of such stature and experience with us today. I request the audience to welcome Mr. Nanavati with a round of applause.
Good morning, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes, sir. Okay, great. Good morning, it's a great privilege for me to be here today, and I appreciate the turnout. And first of all, let me ask, how many of you have ever heard of 3M? How many can name 10 products we make? How many can name the 50,000 products we make? Well, you're not the only one, I can't either. So, in any case, this is a very interesting topic. So, I'm going to share some experiences based on my 25 years with 3M. The only difference is in those days I had a lot more hair, and it was black hair. So that's what 25 years with a company like 3M does to you. Okay, so I'm gonna try and keep this. I don't know how much time I've been allocated. 45 minutes. Okay, I'll try to keep the pace going, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about. I got to do my sales pitch. You know, I'm here for 3M, so I'm here to sort of sell 3M to you guys. So let me tell you about our company, who we are, what we do. We are a global company based out of Minnesota, in the Midwest, in the US. We have about $30 billion worth of global revenues. And even though we are an American company, 70% of our revenues comes from outside the US. And one of the other unique characteristics about 3M is that we are truly a global company. Nowadays, every company claims to be a global company. The big difference is that we have a chairman who's a Brit, we have a CEO who's a Swede, we've got a head of international who's a Korean. So, you know, we truly are a global. I mean, how many American companies can you take off who have the top 3 people in the company who are non-Americans? So we truly are a global company in that sense. We are a very diversified company, as you can see, and I'm not going to go through all these areas that we operate in. I often get asked about 3M. How do you define 3M? You know, who are we? What do we do? It's a very difficult company to define. Most people know us through Post-it pads and Scotch-Brite and Scotch tape and Magic tape and that stuff, which is like 5% of our business. But that happens to be the customer-facing piece of it. We are largely a B2B company. The consumer piece tends to be a very small part of our business. But really, our mantra and what we aspire to and what we are, how we define ourselves, our vision is to be a company. We are basically a technology company. We are a material science company. We make products for corporates in a B2B space. We make products for consumers in the home space. And we make products for the life sciences space in healthcare space. So those are kind of the three areas that we serve, and these are the things that we are known for: technology, products, and innovation. Oftentimes when you hear of 3M, you hear the word innovation associated with 3M. So I'll spend a few minutes talking about that as I move along. To start with, I'm going to run a short video just to sort of set the tone. So, what do you think of that? Quite a difficult company to define, just from what you've seen out here. Okay, so let me tell you about why we are known as a company which is often associated with innovation. We have got many firsts to our name. We invented a whole range of products, everything from, in fact, which is not even captured here. We actually, one of the unique characteristics of 3M, we are the only industrial company that ever won an Oscar awards. And because we invented magnetic tape and pneumatics which captured movies, so we are the only industrial company who's ever won an Oscar award for our magnetic tape business. But we have a whole host of innovations to our credit, and I won't go through all these. This is the one I was alluding to, which I was talking about. Was we got an Academy Award from the Oscars for 3M out here. We were involved with 3M NASA for the first space shuttle that went up. So, I mean, just a quick snapshot of some of the things that we've done and what we do. We've also been oftentimes recognized for innovation. In the recent rankings of Who's in Company, we were ranked number 3 amongst a fairly august company. So it's something that we're pretty proud of as a hardcore industrial company. To be in the rank of these kinds of companies is something we're pretty proud of, our record on innovation. So, I guess now coming to the core theme, how has a company like 3M, which has been around for 110 years, 120 years I guess now, been able to sustain ourselves? And I will share with you some examples of what makes us a company that has been able to work through good times and bad times, tough times. I'll go back to an example of a situation that we had as a company in 2009. This is a slide that I actually stole from our chairman. This is how the world looked in 2009. I'm sure some of you will recall. This was the kind of environment we were facing globally. And this was the time when I had just relocated from the US to Israel. And I was thankful that I had moved out of the US and I was in Israel at that time. But this was the kind of environment that we were facing in the US. So how did we respond to this in this environment? You know, one of the first things we did as a company was to evaluate what are the options on the table. You guys are all MBA students. You guys understand, choices, evaluating scenarios, scenario planning. So we sort of did a quick snapshot of what are the possible outcomes and how we should respond to that. And in fact, these themes are actually all based on Beatles songs. There comes the sun, the long and winding road, help. These are all themes that came out of Beatles songs way before your time. So we looked at the pros and cons of different scenarios when we had to react to this environment that we were in. And we evaluated the probability and impact of each scenario. And one of the conclusions we came to, and one of the things that sometimes for a $30 billion company to change direction is like trying to move the Titanic. Not a great analogy, but that's kind of what it takes, is to move a company of that size and that global presence, footprint, to shift on a dime is not the easiest task. So that's one of the key things, was the importance of reacting quickly. And so we responded really, really aggressively to this. We did all the things that we would do. But one of the key things that we did, which I think was really important, and I make this point whenever I talk to a lot of management students, is this. Even in the tough times, we never backed off on this. Because this is the DNA and the lifeblood of the company. So even though you took all these steps to address the today, but we didn't forget about the tomorrow. And this is a very, very difficult thing to do. It's very easy in tough times to tighten the belt and and I often get asked this question, is that it takes a lot of guts and commitment and belief to be able to continue to make these kinds of investments in the toughest environment that we have seen in the world. So here was the outcome. How did we perform? As you see, as the world was going through a turmoil, you look at this transition, we dropped just like everybody else in the world. But look at how we came back. And if you look at how we rewarded our shareholders in relation to many of our peers, so this is to me, one of the key learnings is that ability to stick through and stay the course. Again, as I said, it's not an easy task. But if you look at how we performed, we came out of the downturn really rapidly as a company. And we rewarded our shareholders even in this tough environment that we were facing in 2009. So this is a really interesting learning, and I'll talk about this a little bit more as I go forward. So, one of the things that we learned from this experience are what we call the rules of forecasting. Pay attention here. Rule 1, forecasting is very difficult, especially when it relates to the future. Right? 2, by all means give a number, and by all means give a time, but never give a number and a time together. This is in relation to how we interact with Wall Street. Give a number,